Thinking about buying a home but undecided whether to buy new construction or an existing property? I'll be breaking it down into 14 areas for those two. Hi, I'm Dale.frazell and welcome to my channel. My background is that I used to be a general contractor and I renovated a lot of existing homes, and then I was a new home builder for years on end where I built a lot of new homes. Enough about me, let's get into it. Number one, design and customization. Well, it goes without saying, new construction, if you catch it before they've broken ground, and if it's applicable, you can have some structural changes. You can change the outside facade, the elevation, or whatever that builder might offer. Now, on existing properties, basically what you see from the curb is what you're purchasing. But on existing properties, they do have a value, and that's also the location. Let's say it's on a lakefront, or on a historic boulevard, or whatever, they do have different values. So for an existing home, it's not only the house, it's also the location. Number two, initial repairs. New construction, because everything is brand new, we're really not going to be looking at any repairs. Now, the first year of that home ownership for new construction, there's a warranty that builder will come back and take care of anything that's still under warranty. Existing homes, well, because that's a used home and there's wear and tear on that, and let's say when you purchased that existing home and you did not have that seller to correct any imperfections on that house or replace, all that cost will fall back onto you. Number three, energy efficiency. Well, let's just use again new construction. That houses today are built to certain codes. The furnaces have to be efficient, the insulation, and also the windows. Everything's new, and some of the windows even have a lifetime warranty on them. Now, compared to existing homes, let's say that house is 20 years old. Those thermal pane windows, which they were using back then, they will eventually break down. So you're going to have to replace those windows. The furnace, that's a big one. That's a gas burner, if you will. Gas or oil, but typically let's just use natural gas. They weren't very efficient because the price of fuel back then was a lot cheaper than it is today. So you're going to have to upgrade that furnace to a high efficiency. And also the insulation. Insulation is kind of a strange material anyway. Over years, it has a tendency of just kind of settling and becoming compact. It's not as efficient as it used to be. I don't want to be dread here, but I can tell you, opening up enough walls, that insulation is just letting the air or the heat escape. So that might be something that you're going to have to deal with, and that could be a major expense. Number four, conveniences. In new construction, you're going to have the latest technology, one of them being a smart home. The other are going to be high efficiency appliances. There'll be a number of other conveniences, but let me just jump over into existing. Existing, well, if that house, again, I'm just going to use a 20-year-old home. That wasn't the technology back then, so if you want that, you're going to have to add to that. Now, I know a lot of this is wireless and you can do it, but it's a cost. Also, the appliances. That was yesterday's technology. So, might not be a big thing, but if you're watching your pennies because of utility bills, it can start to add up. Number five, warranty protection. New construction, typically in our area, it comes with a 1-year warranty from that builder. So I used to kid people when I would sell new homes to folks to say, well, if the house slides out to the road, you're completely covered. I'm just being facetious here, but basically everything from A to Z is covered. Now also too, that you can get an extended warranty on that home to up to 10 years. Existing, no warranty comes with that home at first. However, you can put a home warranty in place. But let me just touch on that. That home warranty isn't for the fact that you don't like the windows or what have you. They're home warranties, but they are very limited. Now, the one thing that I do for all my clients is I always put a home warranty in place. Again, it doesn't cover everything. Let's say you don't like the color of that oven. They're not going to come out there and just start replacing an oven for you, but I do it to give my buyers or my clients a peace of mind. Number six, the cost. Typically, new construction will cost you more money than an existing home, and the reason being is that materials cost more today, the technology and labor, and even land. Now, existing homes, because they're used homes, they cost less. However, there is a caveat there. Existing homes can actually even cost more if they've been renovated let's say the whole house itself. Number 7, wait time. Now, new construction, depending on, I mentioned this before in other videos, there's 2 stages. You can either build from the ground up or buy a spec home, a speculation home. So if you build from the ground up, let's just use for argument's sake 9 months to build that house from start to finish. You buy a spec home, depending on what stage it's at, you could probably close within 30 to 45 days. So there is flexibility there. Now, existing homes in this area, if you have your financing in place, you're probably looking at about a 30 to 45 day close. So existing actually is a faster turnaround. Number 8, price negotiation. New construction. It depends on the builder and the size of that builder, but I have found in my experience, builders are willing to negotiate. Not always going after the sales price, but maybe making a concession of some sort. For example, fencing in the backyard. Or how about an incentive, say a buy down of your interest rates? They are willing to do something because they have to constantly be moving forward to go to their next home. Now, existing homes, that's one house that seller is selling. So depends on the seller's motivation, but they might be willing to negotiate a little bit more. They might come down on the price because it's not going to affect anything else except maybe the neighborhood, or they might be willing to pay closing costs. So it's really hard to say apples to apples here because each one's going to vary. But one thing I would say is you always want to negotiate. I like to pause for a moment to let you know that I don't work for builders. I sell their homes. I work for buyers through the entire construction process from start to finish. Let's continue. Number 9, landscaping. Well, in new construction, everything is new. So let's just say, for example, they put sod in the front yard and maybe hydro seed in the back. But the one thing though, for new construction, if you catch it early enough, you can actually lay out the way you want your landscaping to finish. So if you want a tree in a certain area, this is the time you do it. Now existing, if they have full trees, that's just a big plus right there. You're going to have the shade from it. Or it also can be a detriment because, some of these big trees, you got to pick the leaves up afterwards. And it might be too close to the house. So you can see what I'm saying here. One, it doesn't have the mature landscaping at that point, and the other might be it has mature, but now you have to maintain it. So again, that's kind of almost a break even for me. Number 10, construction delays. Well, in new construction, it happens. And it also happens on what time of the year you're building. So again, let's just use the winter. If the winter you're trying to build, people move slower, it's just, everything is just on a slow pace. Versus existing, everything is already in place. So I would have to say on this one, existing, you're not going to have those delays. However, I will mention one thing. If you buy an existing home and you want to have, let's say, some remodeling done, there will be some delays. You can guarantee that one. The guy says he's going to show up. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. And meanwhile, you're living in that house with your house is torn apart. So there could be delays on that too. Number 11, character and charm. New construction, today's builders kind of get a bad rap because the houses are going up so quickly. And not only that, they might mirror that house over and over. But the builders today too are very aware of curb appeal. So they do mix things up, whether it be color, in the paint, the siding, the texture. So they're trying to do their best at this point, but they are also under the gun financially because it costs more to build that house and also to carry that house. Compared to existing homes, and again, I'll just use a 25-year-old home, that builder wasn't under the pressure or also that financial responsibility like the builders are today. So those builders back then, a lot of them were hands-on builder from start to finish. They knew the craft. So they took a lot of pride in the building of that particular home. Now there's a little caveat here. Not all existing homes are the same construction worth. Now let me explain on that. I used a historical earlier on in this video, to where if it's on a historic boulevard, those houses are historical for a reason, because they were very unique. But maybe you go outside, out into just a regular subdivision that's 20, 25 years old, and they're not of any real substance. I'm not putting them down, but they were just homes. They served a purpose. They were built very well, but they might not have a lot of curb appeal. So you can kind of see what I'm saying here. The builder today is trying to make a really cute curb appeal home, and some of the existing homes, again, depending on that location, it will vary, but you can kind of see where I'm saying about existing homes. And I mentioned that earlier again, whether it's on a lake, a boulevard, or what have you, you can see that uniqueness on that existing home. Number 12, community. New construction, especially today, builders are buying land that's further outside of town or the city itself, maybe old farmlands. Now, one thing, a little note here, when I used to sell new construction down in Boise, it was always out in farm fields. And I would tell people this, I'd say, well, this is all zoned for residential, but that's not a guarantee. And I'd always tell people, you want to check into this because they can change stuff. Now, did it happen? No. If it was residential, it typically stayed residential, but the whole community was not built out. So you just, as new construction, just be kind of cognizant of that fact, because it's not all built out. Now you go into existing homes, well, you can see that area is already built out. So you know everything. There's not going to be any surprises unless you're in an area that maybe they want to tear down certain areas to put in a freeway or what have you. Not trying to be an alarmist here, but things can happen. Just because it's already existing, that doesn't mean that everything is always going to remain. But with existings, you can see at that point, that snapshot, what's in place. 13, maintenance. Now, new construction, because everything is new, there really is minimal maintenance. No house is maintenance free, so there will be certain things that just for the upkeep of the house. Now we go over to the existing, because that is a used property. For example, the roof. Depending on what shape that roof is in and how old it is, that's a maintenance item. So when you buy an existing home, you're buying used, I'm going to just say equipment. Your appliances are older, your electrical is older, even the switches are older. They could be worn out. I'm not trying to be dread about existing. Existing homes have a lot of worth and a lot of value, but it's like a car. When a car gets to a certain age, parts start to wear out on them. And just like an existing home, there will be items that just need to be replaced. So the maintenance will be a little bit higher on an existing home. Number 14, last but not least, renovation costs. In new construction, there is no renovation cost. And if you do need to have renovation done to that home, you bought the wrong home. Now, on existing homes, I used to renovate homes all the time and I loved it. Some people do. However, if you don't, that existing home, that kitchen, that bathroom will always be staring you in the face, so there will be a cost eventually down the road. I love new construction, and it's been my career almost my whole adult life. I enjoy sharing my knowledge to people who can benefit from my new construction experience. Thanks so much for watching my video. I hope you learned something new today, and if you did, please subscribe. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one.